You know, one thing that is really annoying about how RVs are put together is how shoddy sometimes these things are installed. One is that they either over torque the screws in here and bust off the corners like this, or they use an axe to cut the hole for these outlets. And it goes without saying that you should turn the power off on this before continuing. These outlets are held captive by these little toggles. Just loosen both screws. And you can see the toggle, what I mean. That's this little mechanism here. And it will fold back on itself, and then when you tighten it, it will swing out. And of course, this falling off is just poor workmanship. That's just some inexperienced person not knowing how to use a power tool. And the brand name of these outlets are wirecon. Here's a new one. And they're made by Hubbell, and Seymour & Pass also makes a version. And this is brand new out of the box, and it's missing a toggle, so it's kind of par for the course for RV stuff. And these are what I like to call vampire tap. Basically, the Romex just goes in here, and then you have this cover that snaps in place over it, pushing the wire in and piercing it. And you can see from here, on this one, we do have the Romex going in here, and it's being held captive by this plate. Now, unfortunately, a lot of times they do such a bad job in the installation that they'll bust this plate too, and then that becomes a safety hazard. Now, what some folks do is just take the wirecon outlets right out, but then you have to use a old work box, and here are a couple examples. There's a couple problems with this though. Number one is that you don't always have enough room behind here for a box like this to fit. So you're often required to use this type of box, the shallow ones. And then the problem I have with them is that with these shallow boxes, and of course you can buy different types. This one's made by Carlon. There's just a little cutout for the Romex. And once you knock that out and put the Romex in, there is nothing to hold that Romex secure. In a similar manner with this one just has a little door that you can put the Romex in, and it really doesn't hold it that secure. And the other problem I have is these outlets themselves. There's a little hole you push the wire in, or you got to wrap a wire around this post, and that's beyond the ability of some RV owners to do. So actually, in my view, the wirecon connectors protect the wiring better than the residential boxes. Because remember, the residential boxes are designed for a building that doesn't move around, and the wirecons are designed for RVs and mobile homes. There's probably less chance of the wire snapping off in the wirecon box, the way that the Romex is held secure on the back side, than there is with a standard box. So I have no issue with using the wirecon outlets, provided that they're installed correctly. If you go to my website, and I'll post a link here, there will be a link to a Hubbell document on how to properly install the wirecon outlets. And in the instructions, it does give you the recommended cutout for the outlets. And that recommended cutout is 2 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall. And I've actually 3D printed a little template, and you don't have to do this, of course, but if you'd like one, you can go to my website and download it. And we can take the template and can see that this cutout is way too large. I purchased some birch plywood, both 1/4 and 1/8 inch. I made these little mending plates. This is the 1/4 inch, and this is the 1/8 inch. And I will use the 1/4 inch if I can. And I cut the hole here not only to allow me to cut the inside easier with a scroll saw, but also so that I can put it behind here. And some people just don't have the skill set to replace the outlets. Some people don't really want to replace them if they can help it. So here's how we can fix this outlet without having to replace it. What I'm going to do is take this and insert it behind this cutout, and I'm going to use some Gorilla Glue minis. I'm going to glue this mending plate to the back side, and that will then allow me to properly fasten the outlet with these toggles. The slot in the mending plate allows you to place it behind the wall by rotating it around the hole while pushing the slot behind the wall. You can see how much larger that they cut the hole than what they should have. And then I'll take the Gorilla Glue, and all we need to do is glue it enough so it just stays put until we get the toggles on. And got some nice little Irwin clamps. These are minis. So now we'll come back after this is dry. We can take the clamps off. And all you have to do is make sure that these toggles are in the right position. And there we go. And now, that thing is solid. And I did super glue where the piece fell off. And then I can put the spare mending plates along with the little clamps in a bag, and I'll throw that in my spare parts kit. So I'll have materials to repair another one. Visit rv-project.com.